last group of people. Here's the everyone else. These are the hoi polloi, the people that you have showing up at your conference that you don't know who they are or what they're doing. However, they're not just random people. The people that you see at your conference, they are future contacts, which could mean future collaborators or future employers. When you are at a conference, you need to be treating it like a job interview. And at a job interview, you want to stand out. And so the things that we can do to be able to make this happen is to be attractive. They want to be wowed. So big superpower. We're bringing them in from all the way out down the poster aisle of the really boring poster. They're bringing them right close to us, making sure we get a group around us that wants to see our poster and what we have to say. So 3 ways that we do that. Let your poster breathe, customize your fonts and colors, and go big or go home. So first of all, one thing that every poster needs, it's the easiest thing to do, it's the hardest thing to allow yourself to do, is to put nothing in places on your poster. To understand that there's value in having nothing in certain portions of your poster. That when elements can be separated from one another, it's easier to find them, easier to identify them, easier to understand where to go next. One of the most used design elements in your traditional conference poster is the box in a box. And it can work when you do it the right way, but PowerPoint does not want to help you do it the right way. So here are 2 posters that use the box in the box style. And when you create a box in PowerPoint and then you start editing text in there, for whatever reason, it automatically assumes you want your text to butt up right against the box, just like this. When really, anytime you have 2 elements and you have a border, you need to have space between those. When you use a box in a box, you need to do it twice. You need to have space between the paragraph text and the box, and then between the box and the border. And so to use a box in a box effectively, you have to have twice the amount of space than to just use text on a white background, because you need to delineate both of those types of borders. And here's one, but you can fix this in PowerPoint. If you go to format your text or format the box, you can just nudge all of those margins in, so all of a sudden you've got this breathing room. And it's not technically white space, but it is space, and it helps it feel more airy and more breathable in your poster. Even better is to ditch the boxes altogether and just let the text become a box. If you've got long areas of text, anytime that you put it all together and you run it concentrically or consecutively, it'll create a box on its own, and you don't have to worry about putting a border around it. Customize colors and fonts. This is another thing that I talked about quite in depth at last month's. It is equally important for posters to be able to brand yourself and select some fonts that are professional, good looking. You probably don't want this font on your poster, but choose something that looks a little bit different from Arial, Helvetica, Calibri. Choose something that's a little bit different. And so you can see that Arial here, she really has chosen something that you've got, not the light blue that you always see on your templates, something that's different. She has fonts that are not the standard fonts. She uses them in effective ways. And it really is pleasing to the eye to be able to look at that. It's super easy to download a custom font. You can go to any one of these locations. They're all up on the last month's Grits website, FontsWorld, DaFont.com, Google Fonts. And then you choose something for your title, your headings, your body, your captions, and then you use it the same way each time you use those different elements, so that you know this is a caption because it looks the same as all these other captions. This is a heading because it looks the same as all of these other headings. There's also some background on how you can use color and choose different complementing colors to be able to populate your poster with. These are all on the website, so you can go there and see what those are, and they'll link to them and how to use them. Okay, finally, go big or go home. We go back to this idea that your poster is not meant to fit in. Your poster is meant to stand out. There are lots of different ways that you can do that. So this may not be an academic poster, but the handout that you have, could be a poster that I would use at a professional conference that I go to. And it's a little bit different, but one thing I can say is it'll get noticed among a sea of different places that we have, of different templates that you'll see used there. And one place, if you want to go for inspiration, is betterposters.blogspot.com. It is my favorite source for talking about what works on an academic poster and what doesn't. I highly, highly recommend spending some time on this site. He goes through and he examines case studies of what works and what doesn't, and he focuses not on how to make everything completely, graphic designer, professional worthy, but how to make it better. It's betterposters.com. And so you can go there for inspiration on how you could do a different type of poster layout that's not your standard 4-column format. But it also has some really interesting stories about people that have taken it one step further. Here's an example of a guy that showed up to his conference. He was kind of bummed that he got asked to give a poster presentation as opposed to an oral presentation. So he went all out and he brought balloons, he had handouts, but even more than that, his poster was not a poster at all. It was a quiz that had flip-up folds to get the answer of how much do you really know about this weather topic. And even though he was being facetious about it, he was the star of the conference. And he had all sorts of people coming to him and being engaged with his topic because they were interested and they wanted to be entertained. This is someone who was doing, who had access to a 3D printer. So they 3D printed a Golgi apparatus on there, slapped it on the poster, and all of a sudden there was this tactile visual implementation of something that they were trying to show. Here is a poster where he added a section of, give me feedback about what you think about my poster. It's my understanding the poster wasn't that great, but he had lots of people looking at his poster because he invited that level of interactivity. It was something different, it was something that made people smile and thought it was interesting, and he also got a lot of good feedback on his poster as it is. There's lots of different creative ways that you can make your poster stand out. And if we remember all of these different levels, be understandable, be interesting, be attractive, then you can affect all of those audiences that you want to see. So, you have your poster superpowers. There's only one question left.
Are you ready to do what you need to do with a time?
Corny, I know, but thank you for coming here today. I will be here for questions, but we can let you go when you need to.